Hello guys, welcome to a new tutorial. My name is Dexxter Clark and I want to tell you something about Studio One and how to improve the speed of Studio One. So let's get started. Hey guys, my name is Dexxter Clark and I want to tell you something about Studio One. But first of all, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and hit the bell button to stay updated. My first point is the startup speed of Studio One. You can improve it. How do you do that? Well, when we are in Studio One, we can go to Preferences and under the not the general but the locations tab, you have different kind of tabs and we need to go to the tab VST plugins. In that tab there is a checkbox. If you check it, default is checked, it scans every time it boots the directory for new plugins. Don't do that. If you don't have installed a new plugin, you don't have to rescan the directory every time you boot up. The downside to switching this off is that you probably forget it when you install a new plugin and it isn't displayed in your list of plugins in Studio One. So if you want to keep that in mind, no problem, just switch it off. But there is something else you can do and it's hidden behind a very scary looking message. Under the Advanced tab, you see again a couple of tabs, and under Services, on the Services tab there is the option to switch on and off some services with the startup of Studio One. But there is a very scary message. Changing these advanced settings might lead to improper function of Studio One. I'll be careful, I promise. If you know what you're doing, it's not a problem. And if we go over these options bit by bit, you'll realize those are not so scary at all. We're gonna switch off a couple of these options. The first one, ARA support. If you're using Melodyne that is using ARA. ARA is an advanced usage of plugins. Normal plugins like synthesizers, EQs are not that difficult to implement in software, but there is a next step. It communicates MIDI notes, it communicates back the change of those MIDI notes, wave support, it is, and where the playhead is in your D.A.W, ARA takes care of that. If you're not using Melodyne, switch it off, but I'm using Melodyne, although I'm not a big fan of the software and it's a little bit laggy in Studio One. But okay, it is supported, so I'll leave it on. VST 3 plugins, VST 2 plugins, audio unit plugins. That is where my second tip will gonna be. I'm switching it off. CD burning support. Yeah, I'm not burning CDs with Studio One. So when I want to use it, I can switch it off. Okay, I have to reboot Studio One so I can enable this option. But for now, I'm 99.5% not going to use the CD burning support, so disable that. Core audio, you have to enable that, otherwise you don't have a sound. Core media support, enable that. External device support, enable that. Presonus hardware support. I'm not having a Presonus sound card or anything, only the software, so I'm gonna disable it. Presonus legacy hardware support, disable it if you don't have legacy devices. Rewire support, I'm not using that for communication between doors, so disable that. Remote control apps via UCNet, that is the app that Presonus has for Android and iOS to communicate with Studio One. The app, I tried it out, is not very useful. You can control your mixer but only the faders, so not very useful. Disable it. Then we have Duo support. I don't know how to pronounce it. Duo is for the multi-touch gestures. I don't have a multi-touch screen, so disable it. Video support. I'm not gonna edit video files with it. So yeah, I only do music. Disable it. If you want to enable it, you can do it later on. We have to reboot Studio One for that to make the changes work. So quit Studio One, and now it boots up Studio One, and all the things we checked off are off. That's tip number one. Tip number two. Yeah, I talked about it. We can switch off the support for audio units. Studio One supports audio units and VST plugins. And it supports two types of VST plugins. VST 2.4 and VST 3. Not every plugin maker has support for VST 3, so we have to enable VST 2.4. But most of the really serious plugins like FabFilter or anything has an audio unit version and VST version. Why do I want to use the VST version over the audio unit support? I had some problems with Studio One crashing on some of my plugins, and Presonus said that it was the fault of the plugins. I don't agree with him because Logic eats them just like it has supposed to, but not Studio One. I had some compatibility issues with that. So switch off the audio units. There is a VST version, so why use not the VST version? There is one advantage from the VST version over the audio unit version, is that VST 3, not 2.4, VST version 3 has support to go into a sleep mode, so it doesn't use any CPU. So things that are not used, for example instruments, are switched off. So it saves your CPU. So that's my second tip. Tip number 3, and you'll probably hear that the audio is bad and you're not seeing my screen, and that's because my screencast software just quit. I had monosnap and that displayed an error that I should contact the authors of the software, and I also tried QuickTime and it had also problems. I had a black screen for the entire time, and I just recorded. This is already the 5th time that I record tip number 3. Just clips of 7 seconds. I don't know what the problem is. But again, tip number 3. With tip number 3, it's about ghost instruments, those spooky instruments. Take up your CPU, but don't do anything because they are not connected to a track. With bigger projects, you have the problem that you remove tracks, move them around, remove tracks, deleted tracks, and sometimes I forget to remove the instruments too. You have to do that explicitly in Studio One because instruments are global and are not connected directly to a track. To do that, you go into the mixer. So in the mixer section, there is the instruments section, and you display it when you're clicking on this button over here. You'll see that there are some grayed out items here. Those items are not connected to a track, so you might as well remove them because they are not doing anything. And especially in bigger projects, this will save up your CPU. I hope these 3 little tips were useful to you. If they were at any value to you, please leave a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you already haven't, and hit the bell button to stay updated. I hope you enjoyed this video, and until next time, bye!